Lately, I've been looking at the pieces I made during the early days of my kimono upcycling journey. They're beautiful and full of memories, but I rarely wear them anymore. Some no longer fit, others don't feel like me, yet they all carry a story. If you've ever opened a closet of items you loved but no longer use, you understand the mix of affection and quiet heaviness. Holding each garment gently and asking whether it still sparks joy. The heart of the KonMari method helps us see what truly supports who we are now and to honor what no longer does. With that same care, I want to give these garments a new purpose rather than leaving them unworn or discarding them. I'll transform them into Furoshiki, Japanese wrapping cloth. In old Japan, kimono were never thrown away lightly. They were repaired, resized, and eventually repurposed into everyday items. This embodies the spirit of Mottainai, recognizing that everything has value and can be reborn with care. Before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel so we can keep stitching together and sharing this journey of mindful creation. And if you stay with me to the end, I'll show you how to wrap a loving gift with Furoshiki and share the exact measurements you need to make one for yourself. Now, with respect for the materials and the stories they carry, we can begin. Let's move from reflection into creation, from old into something new. I begin by going through my wardrobe by KonMari way, gently holding each dress and asking whether it still sparks joy. It is a simple question, yet it reaches surprisingly deep. The first time I practiced the method fully, I realized that joy is not always loud or obvious. Something it is quiet, steady, or even bittersweet. Certain garments make me smile immediately, while others feel heavy in my hands, as though they belong to a version of myself I have already grown past. The small act of listening to the fabric, to my own feelings, to the present life I inhabit, reveals that releasing what no longer serves me is also a form of gratitude. The KonMari method is not about discarding things. It is about keeping what supports the person I am right now. As I examine the dresses I once made, I wonder why I created these particular designs. At the time, I was experimenting, testing patterns, making prototypes, learning through trial and error. Many of these kimono-inspired dresses are genuinely adorable, yet I rarely wear them. The more formal a piece, the less it becomes part of daily life. And over time, I naturally shifted toward creating smaller accessories instead. At exhibitions, I might wear one of these dresses for a few hours, but beyond that, they remain largely untouched. Some have not been worn in years. And yet certain pieces carry deeper stories. One dress in particular, a William Morris print, opens fully at the front for breastfeeding. I made it years ago, soon after acquiring my first sewing machine. It was the first garment I designed and stitched entirely on my own, and I even made a matching outfit for my child. Though I have not worn it in years, I cannot part with it. too many memories are sewn into its seams, and yet being cotton and large, it takes up far more space than I can reasonably justify. As I lay the dresses flat, comparing them with kimono scraps and fabrics pieces I have collected over time, I began to imagine what they might become. The Japanese philosophy of Mottainai whispers in the back of my mind. Nothing should be wasted, because every material still holds value. Even a dress I no longer wear can be reworn. Even the smallest scrap can gain significance when treated with care. In the end, I select a combination of pieces that feels most promising. Garments that have been overlooked for far too long, yet now hold the potential to become something useful, beautiful, and purposeful. These are pieces I will carry into the next stage of the process. Deconstruction, quiet transformation, and the beginning of a new story. Now that the upcycle pieces have been chosen, the act of distracting them begins. Cutting, unpicking seams, gently loosening threads. There is a weight in undoing something that once felt complete. A quiet tension between letting go and preserving. Yet in Japanese craft, the undoing is as significant as the creation. Each stitch that yields under my fingers, each seam that releases its hold, becomes a moment to slow down, to feel the fabric as if it carries its own memory. The material, the tool, the hand that guided it, all are present in this delicate dialogue. In this moment of careful dismantling and sewing, the philosophy of Mottainai emerges naturally. Rooted in Buddhist teachings, it speaks of respect, gratitude, and the avoidance of waste, not merely as practicality, but as a moral and spiritual awareness. At its heart, Mottainai holds several profound truths. It is a shame to discard something that still retains value. Everything in the world is connected. So to waste materials is, in a sense, to waste part of our own lives. As long as an object retains its form, even just a trace, it deserves to be honored until the very end. 3 centuries ago, Edo, a city of over 1 million inhabitants, was alive with energy, yet constrained by scarcity. In that context, Mottainai was not a lofty ideal, but simply the rhythm of daily life. Kimono and other garments were used until there was nothing left. First, they were worn by another, then carefully repurposed into futon covers or cushions. Later, they might be cut again to serve as nappies or cleaning clothes. When every shred of utility was exhausted, the remaining fabric was burned, and even then, its ashes found new life in paper making, dyeing, fertilizer, or even as rudimentary soap. Every stage of the material was valued. Even the cloth itself disappeared, its essence continued to serve. This careful stewardship extended beyond cloth. Food, too, was honored with Mottainai sensibility. Natural disaster and shortages made waste a tangible threat. Meals were finished when possible. Gratitude was expressed even when a consumption was impossible. To waste was not merely imprudent. It was a moral act, a rupture in the connection between the land, the hands that labored, and the body that sustains itself. Sewing together these panels, handling leftover thread, coaxing a machine that has rested too long back to life. I am reminded of this same reverence. Every material, every tool, every trace of human effort deserves care and attention. Interwoven with this ethic of respect is the folk lore of Tsukumogami, spirits that awaken in long-used or neglected objects. The earliest references appear in the Muromachi period, 1336 to 1573, where the Ise Monogatari names them as Tsukumogami. Even earlier, the Konjaku Monogatari Shu, compiled in the Heian period, 794 to 1185, tells of flasks, scarecrows, and other implements that transformed to play mirror tricks on humans. Scholars debate whether these earlier stories imply Tsukumogami were already imagined in the Heian era, but clear identification and naming merge only in the Muromachi period. The Tsukumogami Emaki, a picture scroll from the Muromachi period, preserved in Japan, depicts these spirits explicitly. At that time, technological advancements brought new goods into frequent circulation, and older items were often discarded. Yet, belief held that any object approaching its 100th year could acquire a spirit, and thus tools nearing that milestone were discarded during the annual Susuharai, the ritual of sweeping away soot thrown into rivers or by the roadside to prevent transformation. Despite this precaution, objects frequently nurtured a lingering resentment. I was only 1 year from becoming a spirit. They might be imagined to lament. It was from this grievance that the soul of a Tsukumogami arose, granting the discarded object a consciousness. Some were playful, some mischievous, others vengeful. These stories illuminate a worldview in which all things, even inanimate objects, possess essence shaped by human care, neglect, or attention. A reminder that respect and mindfulness extend to everything we touch. Both Mottainai and Tsukumogami offer a meditation on presence, on the life imbued within materials, and the reverence due to all things. In the process of upcycling, I enter into this dialogue with the past. The fabric, once a garment, now deconstructed, carries with it memories of hands, bodies, and lives. Each stitch I make is not merely construction, but acknowledgement. A continuation of care, an act of renewal. Each seam reconnected is a bridge between what was, what remains, and what might become. To handle these pieces, to thread needle through cloth, to breathe life into old remnants, is to honor their story and to participate in its ongoing journey. The material itself teaches patience, humility, and attention. The act of creation is inseparable from the act of remembering and every small motion. The tug of a thread, the fold of fabric, the press of a hand becomes a practice in awareness. And so the pieces await their transformation, guided by the quiet ethics of Mottainai and the whispered presence of Tsukumogami. They will stitched into new forms. Each new each paneled surface is a testament to care, continuity, and the life that endures within materials. A meditation on the beauty of what has been preserved, repurposed, and renewal. Now that we have some knowledge of Mottainai and the spirit behind the objects we care for, let us turn our attention to what I'm making. Furoshiki. The cloth itself may appear simple, but it carries centuries of history folded into its very fibers. The word Furoshiki is not as ancient as many imagine. It entered common use only during the Edo period, 1603 to 1868, sometime after the 18th century. Before that, cloth used for wrapping was named according to what it contained. Kesa zutsumi for a monk's robe, koromo zutsumi for clothes, or simply ozutsumi, meaning a large bundle. Among these, hira zutsumi, the simple flat wrapping, seems to have been in use the longest. In its earliest forms, the cloth was used for storage and to protect important garments, such as the elaborate costumes worn in court dances. These were not everyday clothes as we know them today, but joined pieces of precious bluish-green silk twill for beyond the reach of ordinary people, imbued with both function and ceremony. Even earlier, Nara period 710 to 794, there are records at Hokkeji Temple of a type of steam bath. Medicinal herbs burned beneath a platform created heat, while reed mats were laid to observe sweat. Some suggest this use of cloth or matting in the bath may have given rise to the word Furoshiki. By the Heian period, 794 to 1185, paintings show women carrying large wrapped bundles in daily life, demonstrating that wrapped cloth was already part of the visual and practical landscape of Japan. When the era of the samurai began, wrapping cloth acquired new symbolic weight. On the battlefield, it was considered proper etiquette to wrap the head of a defeated enemy in cloth, a practice known as kubitsutsumi. Wrapping textiles was thus not only practical, but ceremonial, a stark reminder of the power of cloth to carry meaning. During the Muromachi period, 1336 to 1573, Shogun Ashikaga Yoshimitsu built an enormous bathhouse and invited court nobles to bathe. Guests marked their clothing with cloths bearing family crests to prevent mix-ups. These crest-marked clothes are considered early example of Furoshiki. But it was the Edo period, 1603 to 1868, when public bathhouses became widespread among ordinary people, that Furoshiki truly spread. People wrapped their clothes they removed at the bath, often standing on top of the cloth to keep it clean while changing. As leisure activities such as cherry blossom viewing became popular, the Furoshiki extended its role, moving beyond practical use into everyday life. Technological and agricultural advances also transformed the accessibility of Furoshiki. Until the late Sengoku period, 1467 to 1615, cotton was imported and extremely valuable. By the Edo period, cotton cultivation and spinning spread, and it replaced hem as the common fabric of the people. Cloth became affordable, and the Furoshiki became a part of ordinary life. In fire-prone Edo, the cloth assumed another critical role. Kept under the futon at night, it could quickly bundle bedding and essentials for a swift escape during a fire. The haya furoshiki or quick furoshiki. Beyond emergencies, the cloth became indispensable to merchants. Traveling medicine sellers from Toyama, Osaka merchants wrapping goods with clothes printed with shop emblems. Each fold of cloth are too a statement and a reputation in motion. By the Meiji period, 1868 to 1912, Furoshiki were firmly part of everyday life. They accompanied ceremonial occasions, transported goods, and even carried the books and tools of school children. Manufacturing evolved rapidly, from hand looms to power looms, from narrow strips to wider fabrics, from home production to industrial workshops, from natural dyes to chemical dyes, allowing mass production and wider accessibility than ever before. In the Taisho period, 1912 to 1926, and early Showa periods, 1926 to 1989, synthetic dyes, rayon, screen printing, and roller printing became common. Many manufacturers still operating today trace their origins to this period. After the Second World War, new dyeing techniques and synthetic fibers further diversified furoshiki. By the late 1960s, nylon furoshiki, often beautifully graduation dyed, became popular, peaking in production around 1970. Yet, with the rise of disposable paper and plastic bags, the cloth was gradually seen as old-fashioned or inconvenient. Its use declined. And for a time, the furoshiki seemed a relic of the past. Today, however, it is being rediscovered with growing interest in sustainability and the Mottainai spirit. People are recognizing furoshiki once again as an eco-friendly, reusable, and culturally meaningful alternative to disposable packaging. Younger generations embrace it as a symbol of mindful living and a connection to centuries of history, craft, and care. In every fold, knot, and wrap lies the quiet echo of Nara, Heian, Muromachi, Edo, and beyond. A lineage of patience, respect, and continuity. To handle a furoshiki is to touch history itself, to honor the material and the lives that shaped its use. Each fold becomes a meditation, each knot a conversation with the past. And discuss the same principles of care that guided Mottainai and the awakening of Tsukumogami live on. Mindfulness, respect, and the profound understanding that even the simplest object carries meaning, value, and a story waiting to be continued. As the Furoshiki take shape from garments I once wore and scraps I once saved, I am struck by the quiet magic of transformation. What began as discarded or overlooked pieces now carries new life. Each stitch, each fold, each knot is not only an act of creation, but also an act of remembrance. A dialogue with the past, with the hands that first made these fabrics, and with the care embedded in their fibers. This process reminds me of everything I have learned along the way. Mottainai teaches respect for materials, a deep awareness that nothing should be wasted. Tsukumogami whispers that even the simplest objects may hold spirit and memory. And Furoshiki shows how function and beauty can live together in everyday life. By combining these philosophies with hands-on work, the old transforms into something meaningful, practical, and enduring. Working slowly and intentionally is at the heart of this practice. I pause often to consider color and texture, to align patterns, to stitch with care. Each movement honors the life of the cloth and the journey it has taken. This is not just craft, it is mindfulness, memory, and material all woven together. And yet, this is not the end. Creativity is always evolving, just as my relationship with these materials continues to grow. I'm constantly updating my creative journey, experimenting, refining, and discovering new inspirations through each project. If you'd like to keep growing with me, to stay inspired, and to follow the rhythm of slow, intentional creation, make sure to subscribe to my channel. By doing so, you can join me in exploring how discarded or forgotten materials can be reborn, and how the quiet act of making can bring joy and meaning to everyday life. Through this process, I have learned that every object has a story waiting to be continued. Every material, no matter how small, can find new purpose. And every act of creation, no matter how quiet, is a meditation on care, respect, and connection. For today's piece, I made a 70 centimeter Furoshiki, roughly 27.5 inches, which is the size most commonly used in everyday life. When preparing your own cloth, I recommend cutting to about 75 centimeters or around 29.5 inches to give yourself a little breathing room for the hem. If you're looking for beautiful fabrics to work with, the kimono remnants I used are available on my website at a very good price. I'd like to hear what you thought of this project, so do leave a comment and let me know if there's anything you'd like to see next. Thank you for sharing this quiet, creative moment with me. Until the next time, またね。